Today I'm going to show you how not to make a care package. As we start moving into the end of the pandemic, at least we hope it's the end, a lot of us have been working from home, on lockdown, in quarantine, and as you can see, I need a haircut badly, and I need to shave really badly. But we're all dealing with a lot of loneliness. I don't like to talk about that much because I like to try and be upbeat, but the reality is that we have all been stuck at home for a year and a half. So a good thing to do would be to make care packages for each other and go ahead and send them. Even though it's late in the pandemic, it's not too late. This idea is inspired by a friend of mine, Patricia Prieto, who I wrote the poems in Appearing to Study Particle Physics, this book, called The Pumpkinification of Brash. And I'm going to read one of the verses, not the whole thing, just one of the verses for you. Ever shall you be cookies for my soul, laid out in sheets, sweetly iced to eat, freshly baked and kindly offered morsels where silly grins and joyous antics greet, smacking tongues and happy twitching nostrils, reawakened inner child, what a treat. But before I go to show off how not to make a care package, I want to show this picture that my brother took at the South Pole of a penguin. He got an award for it being a perfect photograph. He's in heaven now, but I wanted to wish him a happy Father's Day because his sons, Josh and Cody, are living delightful lives, and they miss him terribly. I miss him terribly. He was a Coast Guard veteran, and yes, he's been to both poles, across the equator twice, and he was a hero to many people. He also managed to navigate by the stars on one of his last voyages in the Coast Guard. He had to get special permission to do so, but they let him do it, as long as he verified his findings with the computer. But yes, he actually used a sextant and coordinated with the stars. But I wanted to say Happy Father's Day to my brother Damon. So, let's make a care package. The first thing you're going to want to do is put some candies, especially favorite ones, nice smooth chocolate stuff, little single candies here, all kinds of different varieties. Snickers really satisfies. This is my favorite, but you have to be careful with stuff with peanuts because if the person is allergic to peanuts, don't send them things made with peanuts. Here's a pecan toffee. This will be good for people who are allergic to peanuts, but if they're allergic to nuts in general, be careful. Send them gum for fresh breath, but don't say they have bad breath. And yes, marshmallows would be really nice. And send some cookies too, except avoid some that have brand names that are a little bit provocative. And if you bought 2 copies of this book, you can always spare one, so be sure to send a copy of this book. If you haven't, then what are you waiting for? Make sure to lay it down in there flat. Now, of course, if you're just sending all this junk food, you want to send something nutritious, so don't forget to make sure they have some good stuff for lunches. Put in some peanut butter and jelly. And of course, if you're sending peanut butter and jelly, you might as well go ahead and send a loaf of bread so that they can make sandwiches. Make sure not to squash the bread though. And as long as you're sending stuff for sandwiches, you might as well send some ham and cheese. But of course, if you're sending stuff for those kind of sandwiches, you want to make sure they get some good mustard and mayonnaise. But don't forget pickles. And again, more cookies, because you want to be careful not to send this to a recipient that's blonde, but get different cookies if your recipient is blonde. And as long as we're going for good nutrition, make sure they get lots of good protein, so send them a frozen chicken. And another thing that'll help is, most people love bacon, although not everybody does, but send some good bacon too. And as long as we're going for good nutrition, don't forget to send some fish. I'd freeze it because fish can go bad rather quickly. So send some good salmon. It's good for the heart. And yes, as long as we're going for good stuff, send them a dozen raw eggs, because what could be better than eggs? You can scramble them, fry them, poach them, boil them even. That's convenient. And as long as you're going for breakfast foods, why not send a gallon of milk? If you've got room for cereal, well, I didn't get any cereal, but if you do, send that too. And if we're getting back to the idea of comfort foods, nothing's more satisfying than a good bit of root beer. Make sure and include a good 6-pack of good root beers. They can refrigerate them when they get them, or just keep them next to the milk and frozen chicken. And there! Now don't forget, when you go to close up the package, put a lot of stickers on the inside of the box lid and write all kinds of charming little comments, so that the recipient can open it up and see messages for them, in addition to all the wonderful goodies that you sent them. But beyond that, happy Father's Day, and remember, Patricia Prieto, this was for you.